yeah. This is Brighton Beach Memoirs, in which I played Eugene Morris Jerome. See, how young. And it was my very first lead in a play. I had done one play before that. And this was written by Neil Simon. And it was a autobiographical play. And I played Neil Simon, and I had really great jokes. It was a great part. And I was really good in it. And I'm kidding, of course. I mean, I'm not, but you know.
No.
And
Tell the anecdote.
which anecdote?
You won the Tony.
Oh, that's not an anecdote.
Well, it's important because you were the youngest person.
Oh yeah. I got it. I won a Tony. As Anne pointed out, I'm too modest ever to have said such a thing.
I played Ado Annie in the 2019 revival of Oklahoma, and it's when I won my Tony Award, and that totally changed my life.
How about it?
As well. I grew up knowing Oklahoma, but Ado Annie kind of helped me really come into my own as a person, and I feel like I arrived in a place where I felt like I was enough. And the award did that as well for me in different parts of my life. And I always felt like I had to prove myself because of my chair, and to get this physical thing that's like you are enough is really beautiful. And of course it comes from inside, but it's really nice to have those moments in your life when you're like, I am enough, what I'm doing is enough, and people love what I'm doing.
I loved this play, this musical so much. Douglas Carter Bean had written a new book for the Rodgers and Hammerstein score that was from the Julie Andrews and Leslie Ann Warren productions on TV. And watching the Leslie Ann Warren production on TV was the first time that I ever really saw a musical. And it was just, it blew my mind. It changed my life, right? That was the first time I was exposed to Rodgers and Hammerstein. And I loved this production because when they conceived of doing this new production, the producer kind of handpicked everybody out of her Rolodex. And for me to be one of the stepsisters was one of the great honors of my life.
So many things to say about this life-changing experience, but yes, Nehal and I have a connection with this because he was doing Les Mis at the theater next door. Schubert? No,
Broadhurst.
The Broadhurst. And we were at the Schoenfeld, and an alley connects the two theaters. So when Cassie was dancing on stage, we'd go in our little leotards and watch the end of Act 1 of Les Mis. Mm-hmm. And then when they had a break, they'd come over dressed as like ragamuffins of the Revolution and watch us in our gold top hats doing the finale. And we'd look off in the wings and just see this other world going on.
It was wild. It was so
so fun. Like, what a party happened in the alleyway.
Broadway, man.
Truly, revolutionary France, and to look off stage and see a bunch of people in 70s leotards and outfits.
With just an alleyway separating us. So that was...
There's the musical right there.
It was cool.
Those two
It was very cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I worked at this theater before. I played Demetrius in Midsummer Night's Dream. There was like 20 fairies. It was like a Broadway bonanza. And it's great that you could do that at STC, that the resources for that kind of theater exist, because it was quite the spectacle.
Ooh.
98.
Wow.
That's my boy.
And I was lucky enough to replace Michael C. Hall, who replaced Alan Cumming. So I was the third MC on Broadway, which ran a few years. And it was really just an honor to work with this team. I got to meet John Kander and Fred Ebb, and it really was just an incredible year. It was 2001. We went from 98 to 2000, and it was a really rewarding experience.
I got cast in Phantom of the Opera. I thought I was going to do it for like 6 months. The day of my put-in, the New York Post decided to leak that the show was closing. So 74 people were in the building, and as I was meeting 90% of the company, they were also finding out that they were losing their jobs. But it also created one of the most magical like memories for me, because from the first night I went on to the last performance, it was raucous. And they let me inject some comedy into it and bring myself to it. And it was really, really magical to close such a epic piece of musical theater history. So yeah, Phantom of the Opera, very special for me.
I opened that show in 1988, and that was equally a magical experience.
Judy came on stage for, what was our second, or it was the last performance you came on stage?
Oh, we were there, yeah.
Yeah.
I came out, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. That was
That
so
was
beautiful.
Something. What a night that was.
The first and last cast, the
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera.
They know how to throw a party, I'll tell
That
you.
was wild.
I wish you had done it longer. I wish I could have done it with you. But yeah, you were wonderful. The evening was sparkling and beautiful and very emotional for all of us. Because, you know, it's like life-changing when you open a show and it's that long. It's crazy, I tell you.